Hi, my name is Anne-Marie. A very warm welcome to you again. This may be the first time you've joined me. If not, then welcome back. If it is, then welcome to my first class. So today we're going to have a 1 hour Pilates session. I've not had any injuries in mind when I've planned this session, so please listen to your body. If things don't feel right, please avoid them, please make changes. I will give you lots of options as always, so just be sensible and just enjoy what we've got planned. Okay, so we're going to start as we always do with our standing alignment. So we'll start if you get your feet directly underneath your hips. So your hip bones point a bit to the front of the hips, go straight down from there. The feet should be right underneath, so probably something like 4 to 6 inches apart, something like that. Okay, we're just going to rock the body weight forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Just feeling that sensation in the feet, feeling the movement through the toes all the way back to the heels, and really feeling how the body weight can move through that whole position, so the hips rocking forwards and back as the feet go forwards and back. Lovely. Let's let that settle right in the middle of the feet. And from here, going up through the feet, we're going to rock them out and in. So just warming up through the ankles, allowing some mobility. We've allowed some through the feet. Now we're going through into the ankles, if that is comfy to do so. Okay, letting them settle in the middle. Again, if it's comfy to do so, have the feet pointing directly in front of you. Sometimes people find it a little bit more comfy to have the toes pointing slightly out. If that's you, by all means, go ahead with that. But if it's comfy, have them pointing directly forward. It gets a really nice alignment into the legs. Okay, moving up from there, the knees should be just gently soft. So instead of locking them out, just give them a little bit of softness so that you can really use the muscles to engage the position rather than locking through into a solid joint. From here, moving up through the hips, I'm just going to ask you to tip your hips under and over. So imagine there's a bowl of water inside your pelvis, inside the bone, inside your hips, and you're rocking to let the water come out of the front, water go out of the back. Wonderful. You're just getting that movement through the lower back. If you've had a busy day, if it's been a long day, a stressful day, a day sitting down all day, any of that, you might feel a little bit of tension in the lower back. You might just want to release that out. Might not have had chance to move much today. So we're just getting that movement into the lower part of the spine and letting that come to settle, so that if you had a bowl of water, that water is now sitting really nice and stationary, so it's not falling out the front, falling out the back. You will have a small curve, a small natural curve at your lower back. Okay, now just imagine drawing up all the way from your tailbone to the top of the spine. So the spine is long. I'm going to ask you to bring your shoulders forwards, up, back, and slide them down your back. The action of this, it'll draw your shoulder blades down. It'll also draw your shoulders away from your ears. So rather than wearing your shoulders like earrings, just pull them down at the back. We've still got that lovely long spine. The ribs are directly over the hips, chin pointing forwards, nice big gap between the chin and the chest. And we've got that neutral position, so the shoulder blades are drawn down. The hands will naturally probably either point in towards the thighs or naturally just gently point forwards. You've got that long, strong position to start with. And from here, we're going to engage with our full and wide thoracic breathing. So in terms of our breathing, if you wish to, you can have your fingers kind of onto your rib cage, middle fingers touching in the middle, and as you breathe in, feel those fingers just draw apart as the rib cage expands, and breathe out. Just really getting that sensation of a full and wide breath. You don't need to be doing great big gasping, huge breaths, but it's full, it's wide, it's comfortable. It's allowing movement into the rib cage. Those ribs are acting like bellows. And it should feel quite calming and relaxing. One more. And release there. Now we're just going to visualize the contraction of our core through the analogy of a hipster belt. Okay, so we've got a hipster belt with 10 notches on the belt. On your next full and wide breath in, breathe in, tighten that belt up to the 10th notch on the belt, and actually it's really difficult to talk through and hold, so release. And we'll just breathe out to relax there for a moment. Okay, next time breathe in, we're going to go to the 5th notch on the belt, so a half contraction. Breathe in and just tighten that hips to about 50% contraction, so the pelvic floor will be drawing up inside, those muscles that go around the core, around the hips, or just gently tightening up and release it there. Very good. And this time we're going to go for a third notch on the belt, so that 30% contraction. So breathe in, get that 30% contraction, and that's the contraction we're going to aim for throughout this whole session. Okay, so try and keep that here as we start with our proper warm-up. So we're going to start by rolling the shoulders, releasing any tension that's sitting in the upper part of the back, in the traps, these muscles kind of around the side, down the side of the neck, down towards the back, and just bring the shoulders forwards, up, back and down. So in this whole workout, as it always is, I want you to take it at your pace. Okay, you don't have to follow the pace that I'm leading. If you want to, by all means, but if you want to time it to your breathing, please do so. If you need to spend a bit of extra time, maybe you just need to hold it out a little bit longer, that's fine, that's fine. Listen to your body throughout. Okay, wonderful. Lovely. So from here, we're just going to start with a roll down today. So I want you I'll show you from the side because it's easier to see from the side. So starting in that neutral position, breathe in, I've got the core contracted, and as I breathe out, tip the chin and peel the spine slowly, slowly down. I'm not going to go too far to start with, maybe just getting my fingertips towards my knees, and then I'm going to bring it back up, open the chest, open the hands, looking up, getting some extension through the spine, back to neutral. And again, core is switched on throughout. I'm just going to peel it down. Slowly, slowly, each time, getting a little bit further, just a few inches further, and back to the middle. And again, lovely. So imagine these vertebrae coming away from a wall behind you, one by one, bringing it back up. I'll come back to looking at you, but we're doing the same thing. So we've still got that neutral stance, peeling it down. The fingers are gently going to go slightly further down each time. You'll extend up. And again, peel it down. So there is no rush there. Again, if you want to hold in a particular position, please do. Please listen to what your body needs from you today. Just going to peel. Taking it down. Okay, and the next time you go down, and there is no rush to get there, the next time you go down, go all the way down to the bottom of your movement. So you're still going bit by bit, going down to the bottom of your comfortable movement. And you can just hold it there, just hold that position for a few breaths. Allow the arms to feel heavy, allow the head to feel heavy. Just allow the spine to stretch out a little bit. When you're ready, bringing those vertebrae back on top of each other, just stacking, one by one. Lovely. So I just want you to come to the end of the mat. We're going to do one more roll down, and as we roll down, the hands will get down to the mat. Slowly, no rush. And I just want you to walk the hands out in front of you. And we're going to get to a position called downward dog. So the hands are as wide as the shoulders, the feet as wide as the hips. You're going to push the hips up and back towards the ceiling. The head's coming down in between the arms, and you can just gently pedal the feet. So pedaling the heels down towards the floor, just to get a little stretch through the calves, stretch through the back of the legs. Your chest is easing towards the knees and the ankles. The bum is nice and high up towards the sky, and your head is between your upper arms, and the elbows are just soft, ever so slightly soft, and just hold it there. Hold that position. You can have the knees slightly bent. If this is too hard on your hamstrings, just gently bend into the knees. Or you can straighten the legs a little bit more if it's still comfortable. Don't need to be locked out though. Don't lock out of the knees or the elbows. Lovely. And from here, I just want you to bend at the knees so you're coming down towards an all fours position. So into all fours, just make sure those hands are under the shoulders, knees under the hips.
And you can let the toes at the top of the feet go flat down onto the mat now. And we're just going to do a few rounds of cat and cow. So bringing the back up towards the ceiling, shoulder blades go high, and then release it down. The tummy goes down, the back sinks, the head looks up, the chest stretches up and forwards, and in the other direction. Now again, depending on where you might feel tense today, it might be comfortable for you just to gently move this cat and cow. You might want to, when your back is arched up, you might want to just move the body weight forwards and back and feel if there's a particular point of tension. So if it's your lower back, will tend to be if you push your hips gently backwards, get a little bit more stretch on the lower back. If you push your hips forward so the body weight goes over the hands, you tend to get a more stretch at the top of the back. Or you can look over one shoulder towards the feet, stretching down the opposite side or on the other side. Just getting a stretch all the way down one side. There's a few different things you can play with here. And coming back to the middle, a couple more rounds. Okay. And from here, if it's comfy, if you want to just come to a sitting onto your feet. If that's not comfy, by all means have your legs in front or have them cross-legged. I'm just going to ask you to bring your arms up. So we're warming up through the shoulder. We've warmed up nicely through the back now. Just warming up through that shoulder joint. Arms going up and down. And then from here, they can go in and out. So in as though you're giving yourself a big hug and opening out. So you're feeling those shoulder blades pull apart as you're giving yourself a hug and ease back together. The shoulders should still stay away from the ears. Shoulder blades are drawing down, but they're coming out and in on the sides of the back. Lovely. And from here, we're just going to roll back up to standing. So tuck the toes, straighten through the legs first, and the same way we came down before, if you stack the vertebrae one by one, that core is still contracted, stacking up, stacking up, stacking up, and back to neutral, okay? And we're just going to pedal the feet, so just as though you're walking, keeping the toes down, but you get some movement through the ankles, movement through the knees. Wonderful. Should be feeling a little bit more mobile now, a little bit warmer. It's actually a baking hot day the day I'm recording this. Glorious sunshine outside. So I'm warm already. This feels good. Okay, and from here, we're just going to do a balance. Awesome, loving a balance. Okay, so we're going to do a form of tree pose. So tree pose, you're going to start, you've got standing onto one leg, keep that knee soft. Okay, the toes are coming up. I'm going to give you options. So if your balance isn't great, by all means find something to grab onto. If you want to grab onto a chair, the wall, whatever you need to, that's fine. We start with that neutral spine, shoulders drawn down. I'm just going to ask you to take your knee out and in. So also, as well as balancing, we are mobilizing the rotation into this hip. Now, depending on how this feels, I want you to keep your hips pointing forwards. So it's the knee going, but you might be able to raise that higher. And even higher. So this will depend on how you feel about the balance. It will depend on the movement you have at the hip joint. I don't mind what you do with your arms at this stage, it's all good. And I'm just going to bring this into an additional move called opening the gate. So here the knee goes up, you can let the foot come down underneath the knee now, or open it out, back and round. And if you need to, you can tap down in between each one, like so. Or you can keep it kind of floating up the whole time. Actually, I'm feeling this on the outer part of the glute. Let's squeeze the leg round. Hip flexor drawing up, bringing it down. Wonderful. Okay. Ooh, feeling that already? So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So standing leg soft. We can start again. Now work with the variant that was working for you. If you want to keep this leg down so that the toe is on the floor, that's absolutely fine. Keep it down. If actually your balance is reasonably good, or you'd like to challenge yourself today, bring it higher up. And the height of that will depend on the flexibility into your hips, the strength of your hip flexor, the balance. So it's up to you. It's up to you. See, have a try. If you're not used to it, have a try. And what can be helpful, if you stand near to a wall, so that you know you can grab it if you need to, or near to a chair, might give you that extra bit of confidence just to have a go. Okay. Wonderful. And bring it into that open the gate option. So out and round, knee up, out and round. Lovely. Again, I don't mind what you do with your arms. For some people it works just to have them on their hips. You might want them nice and wide. For a bit of a challenge, you could have them above your head. But really focus on keeping those hips pointing forwards, so you're getting the movement into the hip joint as well as working your balance. Wonderful, and release it there. Release it there. And one more option on the balance. This time it's a little bit less complicated on the legs, in terms of it's a little bit more stationary on the legs, but I want you to work with the movement of your arms to give you the challenge, okay? So I'm just going to ask you go back to that first leg, knee up. This is all I want you to do. So your options, you can have your toe down, you can have your knee up. This is all I want you to do with the leg. With the arms, I just want you to draw them up and down. So the shoulder blades are still pulled down the back. What I'm asking you to do is work against this movement in your arms. Your legs are having to constantly react. You're working what's called your proprioception. So it's that kind of innate ability of your body to react when something happens. This is what's going to help you. For instance, if you stumble off a curb, it's this proprioception training that will stop you from falling flat on your face. It is well worth doing, well worth doing. And it improves with practice. So it's always worth having a go. Lovely. And we'll switch sides. Same thing on the other side. So again, standing knee just gently soft. Let's get into our balance position. And you can change as we're going. If you're finding you do a couple like this and it's a bit easy, make it harder, or vice versa. Okay, so we'll get our stable position first. Then we'll take the arms up and down. So we're also getting some lovely mobility into the shoulders while we're doing this move. Really thinking about drawing those shoulder blades down, standing up nice and tall. That core is still engaged, so I've got that hips to belt on, third notch on the belt, keeping the core contracted, and just taking the arms up and down. It's fantastic, guys. Stick with it. Stick with it. All right, that's one. That's one. That's one. Hey, well done. Awesome. Fantastic. Right. Well, I'm going to get you to come down to the front of your mat. We're going to do that roll down again. So from here, back into that neutral position, shoulder blades drawn down, switch the core on and tilt the chin, peel the spine away. So gently, gently soften down through the spine, all the way. Fingers getting heavy, arms getting heavy, head getting heavy. And at that bottom position, I want you to bend your knees and come, if it's comfortable for you, just down sitting onto the mat. So if it's not so good, just bending through the knees, if you want to go through all fours, however is comfortable for you. Okay, so the move we're going to do here is called a roll up, a Pilates roll up. So I want to get you into a seated neutral position to start with. Now, there is options to use equipment here if you have it. This is like a Pilates ball. It's like almost a half flat football, those really squashy ones. This is one option. If you don't have one of these, or you've got something like a decent sized cushion, you can use that instead. So I'll show you what it looks like with a cushion. You don't have to have any equipment, so this is just optional and just if you think you need it. But let's find the neutral position first. So the knees, ankles and hips are all aligned as though they're on train tracks. So again, your feet should still be 4 to 6 inches apart. Nice and relaxed, they're in a nice relaxed position. The spine is long, so you're sitting up tall, head directly over the chest, directly over the hip bones. Shoulder blades are drawn down the back, got that long spine, okay? I need to breathe in, switch on the core, relax all your muscles. You might want to just gently have your arms hanging onto the back of your thighs to start with. Breathe in, engage the core. As you breathe out, I just want you to tuck the hips under so the lower back goes down in. You've got a C-shaped spine before you bring it up. So what we're aiming for in this move is that you're going into that C-shaped spine and you're going to progressively see if you can go any deeper. Now the roll of the cushion is depending on how far it is behind you. It's a little reminder that you've come to the position you can stop in. But as you get more comfortable, as you get more confident, you can push it back. Okay. Now depending on the strength of your front of your body, I can show you with a ball as well. Depending on the strength of the front of your body, you may be holding onto your legs, or you may be able to float those arms away. Okay, so again, I'm using the ball just to find an end position, and then sit up, back to neutral. Every time you're coming back to neutral, and then you tuck the hips, roll it down. Okay, now, if you're used to this rolling down, rolling up, and you're comfortable and you're happy, you can take it all the way down. What I want to avoid is that you get to a position where you can't get up without hitching. So if you get down to here, and you're like, oh no, oh, and you're having to thrust yourself up, you've gone a bit too far, and that's why you want the ball or the cushion, just as a reminder. But if you're comfortable, you can tuck under, roll it down, and you can roll down, if it's comfortable, all the way down, let the head come down, the arms go over the top, and then bring them back. And I want you to flex through the spine and go up the way you came. Now you've got some options here. We're going back up to neutral each time. You can have the legs bent, like I am. If you wish to, I'll just move my cushion a bit further away. You can have the legs straight. So you're going from this neutral, rolling, rolling, rolling. This is really going to work those abs. Arms floating over the top. Then bringing it back. Peeling up. So as I said before, you don't have to go all the way down. This is a strong move. Okay, if you are enjoying this, if you're comfortable with this, we can add on. So what we could do on the way down on the next time, we can stop halfway. So if we want to, we can always as well have our hands behind our legs, we remember. So come halfway and you can do a bow and arrow in both directions, giving yourself some extra work, and either choose to go back up or continue back down and onto the mat, rolling it back up. Okay, and I'm mixing up a little bit when I have straight legs and bent legs. Do whatever's easiest for you. If you prefer to have the legs really bent, that's fine. So tucking under, rolling down, bow and arrow. So you're getting that twisting, working through the abdominals, working through the transverse abdominis. Got loads going on. Rolling back up. And all being well, you should be feeling this, okay? Nice and tall, tuck the hips, get a C-shaped spine, rolling it down. You've got options on how low you are when you do your bow and arrow. And if it's all a bit much going that low, you can just do it almost as a small tuck, bow and arrow, bring it back in, straight back up. Loads of different variants on intensity here. And if you prefer to not use that bow and arrow at all, by all means, okay? But as I said, what I'm trying to avoid is that you get to a position like, oh no, I'm never gonna make it, and legs are going and arms are going. Let's try and maintain control, okay? So only go as far as you can comfortably come back up, back to neutral and down. Right. Looking good. We're going to do one more. So this is going to be our last one. So let's make it a good one. Okay, when you're ready, tuck in, core contraction, tuck under, roll down, optional bow and arrow. Optional, wonderful, and all the way down. And if you wish to, all the way back. Lovely. Fantastic work, guys. Oh my goodness, that's hard. Right, so just roll it back down to your back. Bring your knees in. Give it a little rock side to side. Just give your lower back a little massage. That's it. Wonderful. So from here we're going to do a movement called the 100, the Pilates 100. And the variant I'm going to use today, I will give you a few options, but essentially the legs are going to remain very stationary, and we will be working with the upper body to provide some break up into the move. So let's get this neutral position lying down. Feet, knees and hips, hip distance apart as always. If you're struggling, you can start with your feet directly together, take the heels out, take the toes out to follow. So you kind of Charlie Chaplin your feet out, and all being well, feet, knees and hips should be roughly aligned now. I've got a reasonable gap between the bottom and my ankles. If you want to, and if you would normally have a pad underneath your head, if you find that the curvature at your spine and the top of your neck is a little bit curved and it's more comfy for you to have a pad there, please do. Otherwise, lying flat on the mat is absolutely fine. Okay, I'm just going to ask you to rock through the pelvis. So imagine that pencil in front of the pelvis, it's drawing a line. The line's going above your head and then above your feet, as your pelvis is tilting under and over, again getting that movement into the lower part of the pelvis. Right, and let's come to let that settle, so you've got a small gap underneath your lower back. The spine is still long, so the bottom of the tailbone all the way up to the top of the spine is long, the shoulder blades drawn down the back. Just let the arms relax and rest on the mat beside you. The hands will naturally point up towards the ceiling. Okay, so we're starting in this really stable position. Breathe in, switch on the core, so put that hips belt on. As you breathe out, just float one leg up towards the ceiling. Okay, this may be enough. This may be enough for you, and that is fine. Okay, because we're just going to hold this position for a few breaths before we switch legs. Now to switch on the core even more, even in this one leg position, what I suggest is the leg that is still down, you imagine is on thin ice. So you almost have to float it, and that almost floating it, taking the weight off the foot and bringing it into where the hip flexor is working, will switch your core on. And you will feel that wonderful work and wonderful tension of the core. The upper body, so from this point upwards, is completely relaxed. Completely relaxed. I'm not drawing my shoulders up. I'm not tensing through my arms. It's just chilled. It's just all chilled out. Okay. So as you next breathe out, you can just let that foot drop down. Breathe in, make sure the core is still switched on. And as you breathe out, take the other leg up. So the knees directly above the hip or so. Certainly not going over towards the tummy. Directly above the hip. The core is switched on to hold it. Upper body relaxed. And again, let's just imagine this bent leg that's still on the floor is really light. Really light. And that has just switched on these muscles at the lower part of my tummy. Now, if this is all comfortable and you'd like to work a little bit harder, your options are to have both legs raised. So if that sounds like a good idea, breathe in, make sure that core is still on. As you breathe out, float up. So now I've got both legs together. You can stick with the single leg option if you prefer, and you can change at any time, okay? But if you're changing, don't just let the legs flop. Take them down gradually and gently, one by one. Okay, so now to give our upper body some focus, we can just take the arms above the shoulders and then take them out and in. Now, if you want to really work into the front of the chest in this move, at the moment I've got my arms completely relaxed, as well as my feet, as well as my calves. Below the knees, all relaxed. From the tummy up, pretty relaxed. So, okay, the arms are moving, but there's no tension in there. If you want to have some focus into the chest and the front of the shoulders, feel free So imagine you've got some weights and you're squeezing those in and bringing them out. So squeezing into the front of the shoulders if you wish. Or you can keep that move nice and floaty, nice and relaxed. Just a couple of options for you there. Now, from my tummy button down is working hard. Holding this position is really hard. What I'm focusing on is keeping this gap under my lower back absolutely still. I'm not letting the tummy pop up. The gap under the lower back is stationary. So it's not arching up, it's not flattening down. Really nice and still. So from my tummy button down should be really pretty stationary all over. I'm squeezing the core gently. I've got that hips to belt switched on, feeling it in the hip flexors. We'll just do 2 more. And 1. Okay, and from here, you can release one leg and release the other leg. Oh, oh my goodness. And feel the relaxation. That's not easy, is it? Okay, so I'm going to ask you from here to do some hip rolls. So the hands are nice and wide. Just roll the hips. So the knees flop over to one side. And flopping over to the other side. So shoulders are remaining flat on the mat. We're just allowing the knees to flop side to side. Should get a lovely little stretch in the lower part of the back. A lovely twist in the lower part of the back. Wonderful. And just to hold that stretch a little bit more, the next time the knees come over to point towards me, if you take that top leg across and just let the foot drop down. Now what I'm doing, I'm aiming to keep this far shoulder pinned down to the mat. You may or may not get this top leg down, the foot down. It may be not quite as far kind of up the body, so it might be slightly lower. But just think about if you want to use this arm closest to me to gently ease and push that leg down towards the floor, please do so. The more you can get a twist there, so the more that you can get that leg across, the better the twist will be into the lower back. But it's always working with what's comfy for your body. So it shouldn't feel twingy, it should just feel like a really nice stretch. Shouldn't be any pain or discomfort associated with this. Just enjoying that relax. You've worked hard for this one. That 100 was really hard. So just enjoy it. Okay, bringing that leg back. We're going to take the knees back across and over to the other side and take that other leg over the top. So again, I'm keeping the front shoulder this time pinned down towards the mat. Using my opposite hand just to ease the leg down towards the floor. Getting a really nice twist through the lower part of the back. Okay, and bring that in here. Right, from this point we're going to roll over. So if you want to roll over and face towards me, we're going to do, I'll just get rid of my little cushions in the way. There we go. We're going to do a move called torpedo. So torpedo, we've got this side lying position. You're lying, if it's comfy, on the top of your arm. If not, that's why I've got the cushions there. If not, you can have the cushions on the side. Just to support your head so that it's not sinking down into the mat. We've got this lovely long side lying position. Ankles, knees and hips are stacked. Okay, I'm going to gently ease that top hip away down towards my feet. And what that does is draw up my waist so I can imagine there's a straw just fitting just underneath my waist. Shoulder blades still drawn down the back. Got a really nice kind of straight side lying position. So my hips are stacked towards the ceiling, my knees are stacked, my ankles are stacked. Okay. From here, I'm going to start with a single leg lift just so you can get the feel of it, but we're going to move it to a double leg lift if that's comfortable.
So breathe in, still switch on that core, and as you breathe out, it's a lift and lower. And what you'll see is this lift and lower isn't particularly high. It's about the size of a football, maybe something like that. If you need the front arm in front, the top arm, just to give you a bit of balance, please do. If you want to challenge your balance, you can have the arm along the leg or up towards the ceiling. Now, if you're all right with the one leg lift and you'd like to give it a try, we're actually going to work with a 2 leg lift. So it's a squeeze and release. Now this will make you even more off balance. So if balance was a struggle to start with, this might be a good time to use that hand in front. Because I'm aiming that you're keeping those hips stacked. What that will do is work these muscles on the outside of the top thigh and the inside of the bottom thigh. You're squeezing up, so you're lengthening those legs away. You're lengthening them so much they're drawing up away from the mat. Now, sounds a bit confusing almost, but just think about it. You're still pushing that top hip away. What I mean is you're maintaining this gap under your waist. Okay? So still pushing the top hip away, but the legs are drawing up and down. And after about 5 or so of those, and as you know, my counting is atrocious, so just do 5, 6, 7 of those. I'm going to do some single leg circles with the top leg. Just circling round. So about 5 in one direction. Change directions now. Depending on the size of your circles, that will alter how much that impacts on your balance. The bigger the circles, the more I have to work with my body to try and not fall over. After 5 in both directions, going back to those double lift and lower. Okay, at any time you can always drop down a hand in front, still keep those shoulder blades drawn down the back, still keep the gap under the waist. And when you've done around 5, switch those single leg circles forward and back. So yeah, bigger circles means more effort to try not to roll over. Okay, so it's more of a challenge on the balance. Also, because this isn't necessarily a move you do very often it can feel very jerky. And that's okay. It's okay, your body's getting used to moving in an unusual position. Then back to the double leg lift. That's it. Wonderful. And you should be feeling, I know I'm feeling it right now, feeling it in this outer thigh. Last set of circles. Still pushing that top hip away. Still having the shoulders relaxed down the back. Switch directions. Ooh, that's smart. That's good. Right, relieve it. Release, release, release. Let that knee come in front. Give it a rub if you need to. Give it a pat. Get some blood flowing. Awesome. Okay, and we might want to give it a stretch. So if you've got the knees together, you can bend that bottom leg now if you want to for balance. Push the knees together, push the hips forwards. The foot, the shoelace part of the foot, push it into your hands. There's a gap between your bottom and your heel. So a nice quad stretch there. That feels good. Right, so from here, I'm going to take it over and we're going to do some swan dive. We've seen the swan dive before. Okay, so swan dive, I want you to start with your elbows directly out from your shoulders. So your hands and your head almost make a capital E shape. Okay, your neutral position here, I'm just going to ask that you tuck your hips underneath. So you're tucking your tailbone underneath your body, looking down towards the mat. I'll just take my glasses off so I don't headbutt the floor. Okay, breathe in, get that core contraction, and as you breathe out, just gently lift head and shoulders up and release. So with your breathing, breathe in to go up, out to come down, lengthening through the spine, the chest is coming up and forwards and down. Working through those muscles at the top of the back. The moment my toes are together, my heels are flopped out to the side, my lower body isn't engaged at all.
So from my waist down, very little happening. It's the upper part of the back that's working to draw the shoulders up and down. If you wish to increase the range of movement as you get to the top, gently press into the forearms. If you wish to, you can press into the hands as well. And then come back the way you came. So it's the back, forearms, hands, hands, forearms, back. But by all means, if you don't want to go that far, stick with this lower progression, still looking down towards your mat. Okay, now your option is, if you wish to, when your head comes down, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the legs go up and down. So you're getting this seesawing action. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the upper back, and glutes. Lovely. So the glutes, those big bits of your bum, the traditional part that you would say are the big muscles in your bum. I'm squeezing into my bum to lift the legs. The legs in themselves, the calves are floppy, the feet are kind of floppy, they're not tensing up. But it's the glutes that are working. Just a couple more. Okay, relax it there. Release and relax. You're going to come up, we're going to put the hands under the shoulders. Okay, knees under the hips. And we're just going to press up here into an all fours position. So engage the core, pressing up here. Right, I'm just going to take you through a tricep push-up. So if you're not used to push-ups, there's two options that I would normally offer you. A tricep push-up and a chest dominant press-up. Tricep push-ups are what we're going to go for today. They're not easy, but we're not going to do very many. So what I'm going to ask you to do is get the neutral position on all fours. So knees under hips, feet directly behind, so the knees, hips and ankles are on tram lines. So looking through the knees, I can just about see my big toes, not a lot else. Okay, just going to play into the pelvis. So rocking the pelvis under and over, just allowing that to get some movement here. That feels good. Getting that little bit of movement. Oh my goodness, that does feel good. Okay, and letting that come to settle in the middle, a small arch in your lower back. Okay. Now, in this case, my hands are directly under my shoulders, so my hands are wider apart than my knees because my shoulders are wider apart than my hips. Okay, right, a tricep push-up. What I want you to note, I will show you before you join in, is that my elbow creases, I'm imagining I'm screwing my hands into the mat, so I'm imagining the little fingers are pointing out towards the side. What it really looks like is the big fingers pointing towards the top of the mat. I'm just imagining screwing my shoulders down so my shoulder blades are drawn down the back. I've got a long spine, tailbone to the top of the head. So it's a lovely, beautiful, neutral all fours position to start with, still looking down towards the mat. Tricep push-ups, when you do them, the elbows are coming back towards the waist. They're not flouting out wide like chicken wings, they're going down and back. So, join in with me, breathe in, switch on that core, put your hips to belt on, and as you breathe out, bend at the elbows and bring them in towards the waist. The nose goes down to between the hands. And then you push back through the palm, the heel of the hand to get you back up. So the elbows go back and then straighten out through the arms. So what I'm thinking about here is feeling the sensation in the triceps. The triceps are these bits at the back of the upper arm. So squeezing it down and pressing it up. So you're working the triceps really hard. These are the traditional bingo wings. Now, to make it easier, as you go down, bring your body weight closer towards your knees. So your nose goes closer towards your knees. Then you are holding less weight into your arms. If that feels a bit easier, you'd like to work harder, you can keep the nose between your hands. If you're really up for a challenge, take the hands forwards, straighten out through the hips, nice long position from the knees to the top of the head, working here. Okay, so got a few options, but I am always pushing the elbows back. Right, we're going to do 5 more together and then call it a day on this. So we'll go down, and up. There is no rush. I'm maintaining that long spine. I'm still looking down. The elbows are going towards the waist. The upper arm is skimming my rib cage, and up, maintaining the shoulder blades down my back. If my counting has worked, we've got one more. Let's hope. One more. Press. Oh, yay! All right, sit back into child's pose. You've earned it. You've earned it. So let the forehead come down to the mat. Just try and get your bottom towards your heels. And relax into the lower back. Just allow those arms to relax. If you want to, the hands can stay above the head. If you prefer, just take the hands down by your feet. Let the shoulders flop down. Not for the faint-hearted, the tricep push-ups, but they're great. They're great. They're a great core exercise to maintain that body position. Obviously fantastic for your triceps. And really hard work. Okay, and from here, bringing it back up. We're going to need to switch round, so head in the other side, because we're going to do those torpedoes again. I'll get my glasses back. Fantastic. Right. So lying down, we've got this side lying position, if you remember. Lovely side lying position here. I want you to again push the hip so the top leg is going closer down to the far wall. We've got the hips, knees, ankles stacked. Lovely long position. When you're ready, breathe in, put the hips to belt on. As you breathe out, float that leg up and down. We'll just start with the one leg just to feel how that feels first. So my foot's relaxed, my calf is relaxed. I'm still pushing that top hip away to keep my waist raised from the mat. Just a lovely gentle lift and lower. This feels good. Okay, this feels good. So I'm going to go for a double leg lift. Now, if you want to stick with that single leg lift, by all means do. So I'm giving you an option. Again, you've got options in terms of your balance. It's probably going to feel different to the other side. I don't know if that's better or worse for you, but you can adapt. So if you need that hand in front, please do. If you want to stick with it down the leg, that's fine. Or take it high, that's another option. Okay, so we have no doubt done far more than 5 of those. So we'll do the top leg circles. Trying to maintain those hips to be stacked. Do 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction. Okay, and back to the double leg lift and lower. So I've still got that waist raised, shoulder blades drawn down. The upper body to some extent is fairly relaxed. But when this top leg is doing the circles, this is when you're really going to notice the balance. The bigger you make those circles, potentially the jerkier they will become, maybe. Almost certainly the more you will be challenged on your balance. Got this lovely sensation of lengthening and release. Still got this core, hips to belt switched on. So maintaining that core position. This is really training your body. Pilates is training your body to always try and have your core just gently turned on. So it's always your core being activated before anything else. And that's going to make you better in all sorts of movements in your daily life. And it will protect your back more, well, protect it better. For instance, when you're lifting and shifting things. Now, by my reckoning, this is our last time through. You may be grateful to you, may be very sad, you might really enjoy these. Okay, one more set with the circles. Oh, I don't know if my leg would do another set, I tell you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa, release. Release, give it a stretch. Give it a nice rub, give it a pat, get the blood flowing. Whoop, whoop. Okay, and we'll do that quad stretch. So holding onto the shoelace area. You can, if you've got long trousers on, or grab into the back of your trousers. If you can't get towards your foot, you can always do it like that. So holding onto the shoelace, push the knees away from you and pushing the hips forwards. Lovely. And release that. We've got time for one more exercise before we have our stretch out. So if you could come up to me for a sitting position. Okay, we're going to do a move called the can-can. So the can-can, quite fun actually. We've got this neutral sitting position again. We did have neutral sitting at the start of our workout for that roll up, so we can get back to that again. Feet, knees and hips aligned. Nice and long through the spine. This time I want you to have your hands behind you if it's comfy. I don't really mind what angle they are behind you. Possibly I find it most comfy with my fingers pointing out to the side. You might find it more comfy slightly twisted round, just depends on your shoulders, things like that. If it's really not working for you to have your hands behind, you could come down onto your elbows if that works better for you. I leave it up to you, okay? But for me, this is quite comfortable on wrists and shoulders and things like that. Right, so you breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, I'm just going to take the knees over and extend the top leg. So take them over and extend. So we've got a twist, an extension at the top. This chest is remaining high, spine is remaining long. Now, if you wish to have a bit more of a challenge on this, what you can do is add in a move called the teaser. And the teaser is in the middle, straightening and release it. Well, you can hold a teaser, but we can go kick, straighten, release. And if you wish to, you can be holding on to the legs, perhaps not straightening fully, but you're maintaining that long spine. Or for more of a challenge, arms up, legs straighten and in. Take it over, straighten, take it over, straighten. So you're maintaining this long spine position, core switched on. You're getting work into the front of the quads to straighten out at the top. You're working to the hip flexors to hold that position, work into the core just to hold this kind of lying, well, reclined position, not lying down, but reclined while you're seating. Okay, one more each side. And I promise we'll stretch. I promise. Whoa, nearly there. Last one. Hold it. Yay. Release. Awesome. So let's have a stretch. Okay, we'll do a hamstring stretch. So you can stay pointing to me if you like. I'm just showing you from the side. So extend one leg out. I tend to have it quite comfy that my foot can go into my leg. If that's not comfy, just have your leg wherever it's comfy really. Keep one bent, one straight, sitting up nice and tall, reaching forwards from the hips, and when your hips can go no further if you wish to, you can have some bend into your back. Grabbing on wherever is comfy down your legs. So you might be just grabbing on kind of towards the side of your knees, down your shin, or you might be able to get down towards your foot. This is where it's really useful to have little legs. It's not all bad. So just getting that lovely stretch down your hamstrings, these big muscles down the back of your thigh, your hamstrings. Pushing down. So I'm really trying to lean from my hips as best I can. Really getting a lovely stretch. Lovely, lovely stretch. Wonderful. So from here I'm going to actually do a twist as well. So the leg that was in a bent position, be it out or to the sides, take it over the top. Bring the shoulder in towards the opposite knee. Take the hand behind. I want you to squeeze around, look over the shoulder. Got a long spine, so you're doing this all from a long spine position. We've got this lovely twist. it there. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So let's start with that extension. You can either have the foot in, knee out to the side, or the foot up, but I've bent through my hips and then I'm reaching forwards down the leg, really feeling the stretch down the hamstring. Legs reasonably straight. Wonderful. That feels really good. Really good. Okay, we're going to twist over the other side. So take this foot over to the opposite, over the top, shoulder in towards the opposite knee, grab on around the leg. If you can't get it all the way around, don't worry. And sometimes if you want to, you can push even further so your arm goes past your leg. Whichever works for you. Take the other arm behind you, look over the back shoulder. Nice long position. Lovely. Release that there. We're just going to stretch out through the chest. So squeeze the shoulder blades together. Chest open, looking up. Lovely and long through the front of the body. Done a great workout today, guys. Well done. Done some hard stuff. As always, done a good job. Okay, so gently coming over, coming through all fours, tuck the toes, push the body weight backwards, straighten up through the legs, rolling up through the spine. Back to the middle, we just have a couple of big breaths. Fantastic work, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your workout with me again.